there, this is Vahid from the Art of Education channel, and welcome to 9th session of Design Pattern in C++ and Qt Framework. In this session, we are going to talk about adapter design pattern. It's a structural design pattern, and sometimes developers called it wrapper. Using this adapter, we can work with different objects that are not compatible in their interfaces. As the picture depicted here, we want to drive a car over a railway. So by default, we cannot do this, but we create another machine that let us to drive this car. So adapter pattern is somehow do something like this for us. Let's take a look at another example. Imagine that you are creating a stock market monitoring application. The application downloads the stock data from multiple sources in XML format and then display nice looking charts and diagrams for the user. At some point, you decide to improve the app by integrating a smart third-party analytics library. But there's a catch. The analytics library only works with data in JSON format. So how we can handle this situation? It's very easy. We need to create an adapter. This is a special object that converts the interface of one object so that another object can understand it. An adapter wraps one of the objects to hide the complexity of conversion happening behind the scene. The wrapped object isn't even aware of the adapter. Adapter can not only convert data into various formats, but can also help objects with different interfaces collaborate. For example, here we have our application that gets data from different sources in XML format. These are core classes. Here we create an XML to JSON adapter that receives XML data and call the analytics library with JSON format. Here we hide the complexity of conversion inside this specific class, adapter class. We have two different ways to implement adapter patterns in our application, and this is directly depends on what programming languages you are using. If you use programming languages such as C# or Java and the other ones that support single inheritance, you need to use object adapter. And on the other hand, if you use other programming languages such as C++ that supports multiple inheritance, you can use class adapter, and we're going to talk about it in detail. So for object adapter, this is our target class. For example, the class that receives data from XML format. And then we want to use another class that uses a JSON object or JSON formats. We called it adaptee inside adapter pattern. Now we want to call adaptee.specific request instead of this request. So in our client code, we need to change some codes from request to a specific request and also create instance from this adaptee class. But by using adapter, we create another class, adapter class that inherits from the target, and we have also request method inside this class. But this time inside this request method, we're gonna use or call a specific request from adaptee object. We have an object of this class inside adapter class. So client just need to create an instance of target class and instantiate it using adapter class. And when it calls request over this object inside the client, in fact, we are calling a specific request. It's a little bit maybe confusing, but if we are going to Qt Creator and create it in practice, you will see that it's very easy to use. It's just a wrapper class, nothing more. If your programming language support multiple inheritance, languages such as C++ or Python, you can do something like this. Create an adapter class that inherit from both classes, existing class, the class inside your application right now, and the other class that is somehow incompatible with this one. And then here inside the method class of adapter, first you need to convert the data from the existing class to some format that this service class understand, and then call the service method, this method inside the service class, and pass the special data that converted recently to that method and return a result back to the client's application. So in this session, I'm going to use object adapter to create a sample for you, and then in the next session, we're going to see how we can make use of class adapters to handle this kind of situation in our application. Let's go to Create Creator and see what we can do when we're dealing with adapter design pattern. If you are new to this tutorial, I should tell you that I create a project, Qt application project named Design Patterns Demo, and for each pattern, I created a folder inside this project and create a couple of files related to that design pattern. And I pushed it to my GitHub repository so you can download it and work with code on your local machine. And this session, I'm going to create another folder and also another entrance button here for adapter pattern. So let's create another one, another button here. The name is adapter. First version. Sometimes we have two different implementation for patterns such as factory method and builder pattern, and also for adapter we're going to have two different approaches. And let's change also this one to this pattern. Okay, that's good. And I think for minimum size I should change it to 500. Okay, and when I click on this button, let's change also the name. BTN, this should be BTN adapter 1, and I'm gonna get it back to BTN composite. When I clicked on this one, another dialog will be opened that contains our demo for adapter pattern. Okay, let's create all files needed for this design pattern. All those files that we just saw inside the presentation part, we need to create them in our application. For this purpose, I'm gonna create, first of all, a demo or client file. For this purpose, I'm gonna use Qt designer form class. And also let's change the name to adapter1 demo dialog. And also change these files names and put it inside a folder already on my computer named adapter1 inside the design pattern demo project. So that's it. Here I'm going to add two different buttons on the form. First one is for direct call of our target class, and the other one used to call that method through the adapter class. And also a button for closing this dialog, a spacer between them. And let's put them all inside a vertical layout. If you are not familiar with Qt framework, it's not a big deal because all the code that I'm going to write for the pattern is purely in C++, and you can apply it to all your C++ applications. So I'm going to change it to direct call, this one to adapter call, and this one to close. And let's add a text edit on the form and change its name to txt console, and set the output as the text of this console, and also layout it horizontally. And I need to change the name to btn direct call, and this one to btn adapter call, and this one to btn close. And let's connect the click signal of this button to reject a slot of dialog, so the dialog will be closed and you can access other patterns inside the main window. And we have Mr. Spelling here, adapter call. The next step is to create our target class, or the class that already we have inside our application, and do some logics for us. So I'm gonna call this one a stock information class. This stock information class gonna receive a string code for a stock and return a basic information about that stock for the caller or for our client application. And then I'm going to create advanced stock analyzer class, and inside that class I'm gonna receive an integer ID equivalent for that string ID and return advanced information about that specific stock, and return it back to our client code. Let's see what we have. First, I'm gonna create a class named stock information, and also let's change to this one. Okay, that's it. Here I'm gonna create a method. The return is a string, for example, get information, stock information, and let's pass a stock code as a string to this stock code. And let's add definition for this method and also add the QString header file. So here I'm gonna say return a string stock information for this is stock code, a string argument, a stock code, an abstract operation or functionalities, and inside the adapter1 demo dialog I'm gonna create a click event handler for this button, and let's create stock information instance here on the line, let's call it targets based on what we saw inside the presentation, and let's also build the application to get access to the text console on the UI. So UI dot text the console dot set text to target dot get information. Imagine that I'm going to pass a stock code named STK01. So that's it. And also let's get back to our main window and also go to the click slot for this one, and I'm going to create an instance of adapter one demo dialog, name it DLG or dialog, and call the exec method over this instance. So that's it. We don't have anything to do with main window. Let's get rid of all main window. Okay, let's run the application to see our basic functionalities. It's very obvious and also simple. So if I click the direct call, we can see stock information for STK01 will be appeared inside the console. The next step, before I get further, let's change also the dialog name to adapter pattern. Okay, that's it. The next step is to create another class. For example, the name is advanced stock analyzer. And also change the name. So this class is going to receive an ID for a stock and return detailed information about that stock. So what does it mean? I'm gonna create a method. The result type is QString, and this time is get details. And this time I'm gonna pass, or I'm gonna receive a stock ID as integer number. A stock ID. So I'm gonna say return QString details for this stock. Go to next line. Value equals, for example, to 100. Next line. And date, for example, equal to 2023. So it's very abstract and we don't need to add real functionality here. This is a virtual function. Now inside the demo dialog, this time when I want to call the adapter code, I need detailed information, but I don't want to call for example or create a direct instance from advanced stock analyzer, because our client does not need to know the signature of this class or this service methods. For this purpose, I'm going to create an adapter. So our adapter, I'm going to call it, for example, stock adapter. Change the name, and this class will inherit from a stock information class. So before continue, we need to make this method as virtual, so we are able to override it inside its children. So inside this class, I'm gonna let's build the application to apply all the changes and override get information inside the stock adapter. Oops, did I forget to get information virtual, so that's correct. Let's do it in hand. Sometimes Qt Creator is not doing well inside Windows operating system. Let's go to this one and make a copy of this method, get back to a stack adapter and paste it here. And this time I'm going to say I'm going to override this method, and let's implement it. Add another body. So here I need to create an instance of external service or other services with incompatible interface in this adapter class. So I'm going to create private section an instance of advanced stack analyzer, and the name is underline service. So you can instantiate it inside the constructor or even pass it or inject it to this class. I'm gonna just instantiate it inside the constructor. And this time, imagine that the stock ID is 2 digits at the end of the stock code. So here I'm gonna say I have an ID. It's equal to stock code stock, and then call write method and pass 2 as the number of letters you need to pick from the right side of the string, and cast it to integer. So that's it. And I'm gonna say return underline service dot get details for this ID. That's it. And let's get back to our client dialog. We forgot to instantiate it. New targets, new stack information. Okay, let's copy these 2 lines and paste it here. This time, instead of creating directly from a stack information, I'm going to create an instance of a stack adapter class. Stock adapter class, and what did it say? Maybe I need to add the header files here. That's it. And this time, and the other things are the same. We have the same method, and we pass the same data. The conversion will be done inside the stock adapter class. This method gets information. So let's run the application to see the result. Adapter 1. If I press direct call, you can see stock information for STK01. And if I press adapter call, you can see another information, detailed information for stock 01 value equals to 100, and also date equals to 2023. So this is the way that we can use adapter class to make 2 incompatible services to work with each other. It's how it works. We have a target class, and we need a stock adapter. It inherits from this class, and also inside this class we have an instance of this other service class. This is object adapter. In next session, I'm gonna show you how to use class adapter. This is another type of adapter design pattern that we can use in programming languages such as C++ that support multiple inheritance. So I hope you enjoy the content of this video and the things that I said. Till next session, goodbye.